Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless. A sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it. And I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring.
My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Tonight, a pretty big race for a lot of drivers, as 20 playoff drivers will race for 10 spots. The fifth and final race of the first round of the playoffs for Sim500's Nc811.org Cup Series from the virtual Talladega Superspeedway. We are here, and what is going to be a Talladega week on the Captain Esports Network. I was looking at my schedule earlier today and realized that all but one broadcast this week's going to be from Talladega. So I'm going to have a lot of fun this week. And I know Kevin's going to have some fun here tonight as we're getting ready to, again, drop the field from 20 to 10. We've raced for 4 races. Tonight's the 5th one here from Talladega. And officially, we will cut the field in half and get ready for the final 5 races where 10 drivers will race for a championship. So should be a pretty good race here tonight. Looking forward to it. I'm the captain. Of course, Kevin England joins us here on Monday evenings, and he's here tonight from Talladega. And Kev, obviously, tonight we talked about Bristol being a wild card a couple weeks ago. Here's the second wild card, and this one's probably the biggest wild card of them all.
Yeah, 2.66 miles of madness. These drivers are nervous tonight, hearing them talking chatter in the garage while they're getting prepared to run this race. The house that Macklin built, he's the super speedway ace. You also have the number 10 of Mr. Beasley, known as Mr. Super Speedway himself. The two of them should factor into this thing somewhere along the line, but this is the perfect opportunity, Chris, for someone to snag a season win, because anybody can win at Talladega if you put yourself in the right place.
That is such a true story. If you're if you're in it, you can win it. And for 4 drivers, they can win some money here tonight. Tommy Ryan, Josh Parker, Tyler Dalton, Pedro Mojica. 2 of those 4 drivers are actually already advanced into the round of 10. And that would be Pedro and Josh. As for Tommy Ryan, he's not in the playoffs. So Tyler Dalton's the one guy that's like, man, I could go win this thing and win some money. But at the same time, I got to get myself into that round of 10. So he's kind of in a tricky spot here in this Dash for Cash race.
Yeah, and really everybody is trying to think about how they're going to run this. Lately, the pattern has been run up front to stay out of the trouble area.
Right.
But as we've seen in the past, Chris, it doesn't mean that the second place driver can't get a little futzy with the first place driver and take the whole field down. So I don't know what the, like the solar eclipse this week. Who knows what's going to happen? Just don't know.
Total eclipse of the playoffs, if you will.
Yeah.
There's nothing we can do. So as we get ready for this, there's so many things to look at. And what's the first preview we can look at? Well, we look at all the super speedway races that have happened. There's been 3 others, if you don't count Atlanta, in the season. There's that. And then there's also Thursday night's race in the GOAT Series that turned into a, if you will, demo derby before it was all over with. And tons of wrecked cars. Do we see something like that tonight? Or do you think the drivers learned their lessons and said, hey, maybe we ought to not race so hard because we got a lot on the line tonight?
Yeah, Bisha, no. I think everybody's just going to run wide open as hard as they can. And you know what? If they can maintain some sense of control, some sense of longevity to get themselves to a green flag stop, which is not really out of the realm of question. I mean, we're predicting doom and gloom, but It has happened, and then it stretches the field out with strategies. So I don't know. I mean, really, all I'm looking forward to is let's drop the green flag as we get qualifying underway here. It is important, Chris, to start up front because some of these drivers want to lead a lap and they want to be out front of the melee. And, well, we'll see what happens.
Well, Tyler Dalton has taken the pole so far, 53.23. He's ran one lap in this No It's Below 811 Call Before You Dig pole award session. So Dalton went ahead and did one and done. He's the one guy you get to watch when it comes to qualifying. The other one is the guy in the 99 car, and that is Tommy Ryan, who his first lap, 54.32. So you can tell he threw that one away, where Tyler Dalton went straight to the bottom and went for the pole. So let's see. And the reason why I bring these two up, it seems to be these guys that happen to go for it. And then, of course, there's Joe Hudson, who threw the ultimate curveball, I think it was, back at Daytona, if I remember correctly. Wasn't it he that stole the, or was it Bobby Wetzel? One of them stole the pole from Tyler, and we were like, whoa, you know. But either way, see Stenzel, he's purple, 53.23. He's the third person to go 23. Shows you how tight the pole lap is right now.
Yeah, 53.23 for Dalton, Kelly, and Stenzel, with Gonzalez running a 24 and 225s behind him. It almost looks like a card game. Look at all the 53.26s. Ryan, Wetzel, Coleman, DeBrown, and Comstock, all 53.26. You think it's tight? These guys are scrapping for a 10th. They're fighting for a 1,000th.
Yeah. As Tommy Ryan goes 53.24. So that tells you right there how close it can be. Let's, who else has not ran 2 laps here? Nelson Rivera. He's on one right now. Looks like everybody pretty much in the green. I don't see that purple lap coming up. So qualifying might be all set here. Let's see what Rivera does as he goes to 11th, 53.26. So that is now, what, 1 through 11 is within 3/100ths of a second. 1 through 19 is less than 100th of a second. Sorry, less than 1/10 of a second. And then there's Doug Roth, who's at a snail pace of 53.40, which is all of a little over 1/10 off. So Tyler Dalton wins the pole, as we'll go to, of course, the 1-minute warm-up session here before we get him loose here for 250 miles and 94 laps here at Talladega. Show you the points, as I kind of talked a little bit about it a minute ago, and before I was talking with a lot of drivers, and it was like, they were like, what's it take to get to the next round of playoffs? And I was watching the size of the field, basically. It was like, well, right now you need this to happen or else you're not going to be automatically in. And then more people would show up, and it's like, yep, you're racing still, and so on and so forth. But the points right now look like this. Where is the old button? There she is. Pedro Mojica leads, which, as we get into the points here, I am going to share some news that was broke this week. But Josh Parker, 34 back. Those two have already advanced into the next round. They're safe enough from the 11th position. David Comstock. Nelson Rivera is likely good. I say that because he has 28 points to the good on David Comstock. He just needs a couple of people to fall out, and he should be okay, but he is right on the border right now of it. Mike Kelly down. Those guys are still racing for the champion, or for the top 10 spots right now. But Kelly, Coleman, Dalton, Calantoni, Jatina, Donaldson, Macklin, the 10 that are in right now. And then you see the 3-point separation where Comstock, Hudson, Gonzalez, Van Schaik's right there, Beasley, Doug Roth you could throw in there, and then probably from there down, Scott Simley, Mike Montesi, Doy Woods, those guys are eliminated. Look at the name in 20th. Kevin DeBrown. Leads me to the breaking news that happened this week. Kevin has accepted a career job. I won't get into details of what it is, but it's a job that's a lot more important when it comes to this than iRacing. He is here tonight. But tonight's it. For Kevin DeBrown, he's going to step away. And with that, he actually gave up his points position and said, you know what? Give it to somebody who's going to be here. I'm walking away. I got to go take care of my life and my career. So good for Kevin. Congratulations on the gig. And, more power to him for doing something very unselfish like in that matter. So let's take a look.
Bring somebody else in?
What's that? I don't know how that's going to work when it's all over with. I did not get that information. I just know that Kevin, if you look at the point standings, Kevin is down there at 20th. So I think what it actually did do is drag up Brian Macklin to the 10th position there in points now. So it actually helps Comstock and Hudson and those guys now getting closer in the points. So that's pretty much what it did. It moved everybody up a spot. So let's take a look at the starting lineup here from Talladega. Tyler Dalton on the pole. Once again, he's going to take the outside line. Alongside him going to be Mike Kelly. Scott Stenzel, row number 2. Alongside him is Tommy Ryan. Jose Gonzalez and Joe Hudson there in the 51. He's gone the reciprocal this week to the 51 car. Brian Macklin, the Daytona winner, and Wesley Donaldson, who I believe won the GOAT race Thursday night. Jeff Ryan and Bobby Wetzel, your top 10.
11 starting for Nelson Rivera in the 22. Chad Coleman's going to flank him on the outside with Kevin DeBrown in the 93, starting Lucky 13th. 14th for David Comstock. Robert Friery the 3rd starts 15th outside row. 16th starting spot tonight for the 41 of E.J. O'Rourke. Glenn Campbell starts 17th to his outside New Jersey native Anthony Calantoni in the number 84. It's Eric Arnold starting 19th outside row 10. Joey Jattina in the number 14. 21st for Seth Foudy. It is Doug Roth in the 43 running 22nd. 23rd it'll be Pedro Mojica in the number 58. Richard Beasley starts 24th inside row 13. 25th starting spot tonight for the 12th of Scott Simley. Charles Van Schaik in the 23. He starts 26th. 27th. And in the final 2 rows, Josh Parker, Doug Sigmund, Brian Wertman. Top 5 finish for him earlier this week. Good run. 29th starting spot for the 74, and it'll be Gerald Livingston in the 30th starting spot. Field rolls out of turn number 4. Pace car just about to make that left-hand turn, and we will be underway here. 2.66 miles, and it's a long race. It is long race, Chris.
94 laps.
A lot of laps in here tonight.
94 laps, 250 miles. You see the iRacing regular temps and 123 down on the track. That's not the only thing that's going to be hot here. The racing is going to be hot at Talladega. Outside lane, Tyler Dalton, the pole sitter, as we come to the final race of the round of 20. Half the field gets eliminated tonight. And our cameras tonight presented by Track. Oh, Tommy Ryan into the outside wall. What in the world?
Well, that was a punch, like a sucker punch to the chest. Tommy Ryan rolling slow to the outside as the field screams off to the backstretch. He just popped out of line and punched the right side against the wall.
Did his screen or did he get hit? Look at that. That might be the second weirdest start of a race I've ever seen at Talladega, behind Jimmy Johnson and Mark Martin.
Well, right now everybody's still going green as he's able to continue on, and I don't know. It didn't look like anybody got to him. He was on the back bumper of the 19. The car just veered right, punched the wall, and then stuck against the wall. And, well, the entire field went by, no harm, no foul, and we remain green.
As Mike Kelly leads lap 1, Gonzalez tries to throw a late block on the outside line. Macklin with help from Dalton. And I'm going to say something here, too. Get ready for some tandems. I was watching the 30, and I said Dalton. I meant Kevin DeBrown. I should have known better. As Brian Macklin goes to the lead, Macklin was pretty much pushing Scott Stenzel all practice long, literally tandem pushing down the straightaway. So look for that, and you see Macklin going up to protect that top line.
Yeah, also saw Macklin taking the big tumble down on the front stretch in practice.
He hit that transition.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back here real quickly. The start of this race, you know what? I don't think... Oh, are they wrecking? No, they're not. Okay, I just see a lot of passing going on all of a sudden there. I try to use when I'm showing a replay, I try to use my timing and scoring to see if somebody's wrecking. Yeah, Tommy's car just went to the right. I wonder if it black screened or, heaven forbid, his wheel maybe had something happen.
Yeah, he's currently 175 miles down the backstretch right now. Looking at his telemetry, it looks like he's up to speed. Just find a caution in. Oh!
The ever so aggressive E.J. O'Rourke going to the lead. I think Comstock went to go down there with him, and it was too late as he brings Bill Elliott with him. No, that's Bobby Wetzel. It's getting a little wild.
front stretch. They were 4 wide at one juncture going down there the lap before, and that yielded the 41 to get up front, but he's not going to lead this lap as they come across the line. He's stuck on the bottom line.
These cars are moving. And I don't mean fast, I mean moving around.
Oh no, we were talking about whether or not they'd make it to that first green flag pit stop. That's the point of the action that we've seen so far. It's been fast, it's been furious, switching lanes, beating and banging off bumpers. 3 lines, which is not hard to do, but it's hard to do.
Yeah, well, in this car, again, this car is not the most sturdy of a car to run. As you see already, the pack kind of separating out into 2 here. As you got the Hornet's Nest up here of about 15 cars, and then you've got a single file line back at Chad Coleman, as those guys are like, dude, we got 90 laps to go in this race. These other guys are like, no, final lap, final lap.
Yeah, right now, and we talk about the dynamic when we watch these play tracks. You can see how wide they're spread out. There's a clear lane in between each of the 3 runs that makes it easy enough, because then you're just focused on the car in front of you, and if you move around. And we also look at the distance between the front bumper and back bumper of the cars. Is I can't bear to watch. I was going to say that tends to calm everybody down, but the tandems and the pushes and the shoves and the switching lanes here is just frenetic right now.
I mean, yes, you have spotters that tell you you are clear, but we are seeing a lot of cars that are borderline clearing themselves and saying, yeah, I know I'm not clear. Hang a left. I mean, Sim500 might have to look at putting turn signals in their cars. Not that that's going to help.
DJ O'Rourke is going to score a lap lead here, taking it over from Kevin DeBrown. He's going to lead lap 6.
See, here's the thing that I worry about right now. Jose Gonzalez, David Comstock, Brian Macklin, those are your first 3 cars either out or on the bubble right now in the points. And they're up here in this madhouse. If I'm one of them 3, it's like, all right, y'all can go race. I'm going to the back. I'll see you in a little bit. You know, because one move here and the 3 of you guys are out of the playoffs.
And then you got wild cards like Bobby Wetzel. He just shows up every once in a while, and when he does, he's in the mix. Pretty aggressive plate driver, good plate driver in the Dodge Mopar number 9, and he's right up here in the mix early on as we're working only lap 64 of 94. These drivers, they got a little feisty tonight with the 31 to the outside there.
As Gonzalez in that Miami Dolphins car trying to push, they're coming up on Josh Parker, who got here kind of late, got stuck out on the I-20 traffic off turn 4. Either that or was on the boulevard, one of the 2. I cannot confirm or deny that. But Parker's already, 2 laps, about to be 3 laps down in this race.
And the field will run past him pretty lickety-split. He just has to be careful as they get upon him. The veteran that he is, I would assume that there's not going to be any problem with that.
Now, unfortunately, I tried something during practice tonight that did not work. For those curious, I was going to try to put the points and how many points are either good or bad up there where the P's are in the timing and scoring, but for some reason, it was only showing the plus and minus signs. So I had to stick with the old letter P. So just know that I'll try to cover who is on the bubble and who is not, and that kind of thing throughout the race. So, you know, like Macklin right now leading, he is the bubble guy, and then Comstock's right behind him. He's on the bubble. Dalton is about 16 ahead entering this race. Gonzalez was below, and Nelson Rivera was in. So those 5 right now you see in the playoffs, those guys looking pretty solid right now as they get single file for the front 4. So apparently some calmness for all of the half a lap they'll probably have here. Right on cue. Here comes Comstock.
Here it comes.
Nice block by Macklin. These cars get such good runs. I'm not so sure. There goes Gonzalez to the infield. He saves it, though.
Wow. He might have enough speed to stay with this second pack here.
And right there, I just talked about putting yourself in a spot, and now Gonzalez is going to need a little bit of help.
That has been the tale of his season, has it not?
To a point, yeah. But, you know, and it comes to a point, though, it's yeah, you feel bad for a driver like this, but at the same time, I mean, look at the racing up front right now. And I hate to say this, but they're putting themselves in a spot to hurt themselves here. Ah!
I have a feeling though that they have a strategy, which is if they can get 3, 4 cars nose to tail, they may potentially break away and control the race, which is I think what this leader group is trying to do here. They have to be careful that they don't overheat and cook the car, but this front group is broken up as much as we've seen it all night tonight.
Well, look what they're doing. They're tandeming. You see Kevin is literally shoving Comstock down the straightaway here. And look who's up to fourth there, Jeff Ryan. And then Macklin's just kind of holding on with the toe. Basically what's going on there. And while those cars are side by side, you kind of get that old, remember 1990s draft package where, you know, if the cars were side by side, the front cars could kind of drive away a little bit. And that's kind of what you get with this car. The problem is you're not going to totally get away. Matter of fact, Dalton should have a pretty good run here, I think, on the outside lane with Joey Jatina, Wetzel. They'll draft off Ryan here and go to the top side. I mean,
Comstock going to lead the lap, but just barely.
So it's like, yeah, the aggressiveness of the tandem works, but I feel like you can't just sit there shoving somebody for a half a lap and think it's going to pay off. Will it work on lap 94? Absolutely. But on lap 10, I mean, you can't win a race on lap 10, but you sure as hell lose it.
Yeah, right now the Sim500 teammates taking over the lead of this race, coming out to that high side from deep within the pack. Joey Jatina, he had been running around the back end of that front group when the incident happened with the 26 of Jose Gonzalez, broke the field up, and he just somehow found the right lanes. Next thing you know, here he is to the outside, mapped up to Tyler Dalton and running in second.
Tommy Ryan's on pit road. So his chances of winning this race likely have gone with whatever issue he had. Let's see if I can find out here somehow. As look at the run here. We're on board with Eric Arnold. He's going to shoot top side here, 1 row. Here comes 2 rows. Coming up to 30 rows. I mean, that's the kind of runs you get in this Cup car now. Jeff Ryan to the front. This is what we're going to see in the Sim500 Nc811.org Cup Series as Jeff all of a sudden puts himself in no man's land. This is wild.
Yeah, it's almost like a different script every time we come off of turn 4. Different set of players coming in here as EJ O'Rourke now at the helm with the 31 shoving him. 31 pops out of line. Eric Arnold, he said, I want my turn at the front. He's going to have a little help from Bobby Wetzel as they round turn 2 to the back straightaway. And huge hit
Dalton,
to the back of
Wrecking,
41.
Dalton, yep. Oh, he gets clobbered by Rivera. There's 2 playoff cars right there. Now let's see if Tyler has any damage at left rear. He got hit pretty square, but how much did the 22 suffer damage?
Yeah, just an odd circumstance there coming off of turn 2 where the 41 got popped. I don't know if he was, Tyler was being pushed. Yeah, being pushed by the 81.
Lap car of Josh Parker.
That's a push gone bad.
Oh, you know, here's what happened. They had such a good run on Jeff Ryan, who was off the pace because he had nobody helping him. And Tyler had to get out of the gas, and it turned him. That's just...
I see Tyler driving right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was EJ O'Rourke. I'm sorry. Well, yeah, watch this run. I mean, look, EJ O'Rourke's in the bottom lane by himself. Meanwhile, Parker's tandem pushing Dalton.
It almost looked like the 81 went up and then came back left and did not map well to the 19's bumper.
Well, I mean, we all know those noses don't match with some of these cars. So it looks like Rivera got literally the tail end of Dalton. He missed the wheel, which is probably good news for the 19. However, the 22 got a lot of damage, and I can see some right front damage on Dalton's car. So the question is, how did Nelson get it on the engine? And who did this caution pay out for? Look at the guy to the right of Tyler Dalton. That is Jose Gonzalez, who had lost the draft when that caution came out. So here come the leaders to pit road.
You know, one look at that is maybe Josh Parker knew that they were going to get to the 41 and moved up some, anticipating Tyler would move to the middle lane.
It's either that or like I said, Tommy. Well, we'll go on board here with Tyler here in a second. I think Tyler let off the gas, knowing he was going to get the run. And when think about the inertia when you got a car that lets off and you're sitting there pushing it, you kind of end up controlling that car now. I don't see Tommy in chat anymore, so I wonder if something. I was gonna see if I could find out what happened. Richard Beasley wins the race off pit road. Let's all right, so I'm gonna go to Tyler Dalton's on board here and let's listen and see if he lets off the gas. Kind of blips it a little bit there.
He's in an OA position. He has somebody tight to his back bumper. They're going full speed. He had to find an escape route.
The only other escape route he could have maybe done, but you're going 190 mile an hour at that point getting pushed, is he could have dove to the apron. But at this point, you're still in the transition, and then turn left here. I mean, and it looks like he starts to do that actually, and his car goes right. Watch that closely. Let's slow it down because you're going to see, watch Tyler. He actually starts going towards the apron. I think he was going to go to the left of to EJ to miss this wreck. And when he does that, it puts Josh on the right rear of the car. And zing.
I think there might have been some back bumper contact just prior to that, but
I think you're right.
Whatever the case may be, it is not peach pie for Mr. Dalton. He has to join back in. Now the question lies whether or not he will be viable in the draft. I don't know that his car will be great out front. Still sitting on pit road right now, getting some damage fixed.
Well, if he has any damage, I mean, the right front a little bit and then the left rear where he got hit. And here comes the pace car now off of the tri-oval. Tyler's just got to roll to the green line. There he goes. He just did. So he'll stay on the lead lap. As for Nelson Rivera, he is still on pit road. So there is your first playoff driver now, as we're going to wear this little button out here. Let me go bring the points up again and show you where everybody was entering this race, because unfortunately I don't have that technology that shows like at the moment type things. And where is Nelson Rivera? He's up here in third. So Nelson is literally right now, I mean, I think there's too many guys for him to fall out that have to get around him. But, I mean, he's 28th right now out of 30 cars.
Yeah.
So, mayday for Mr. Rivera. I said before the race he was okay. Maybe not so much now. All right, so you've got your 14, 15 laps here, Kev, under the caution. Do we take a deep breath now, or are we going to go right back to it?
We're going to go right back to it.
All right, well, let's do this. Before we get back to it, let's take advantage of the caution. Let's step away for a quick second here and hear from 811 as you're watching the Sim500 Cup Series from Talladega on the Captain Esports Network.
If recent storms have caused damage to your property, contact 811 before you begin your cleanup. Buried utilities around uprooted trees can make a bad situation worse if those lines are not located before digging. Electric, natural gas, and internet lines are everywhere, and knowing where they are is the safest way to start any digging project. Call North Carolina 811 by dialing 811 or by using single address ticket on nc811.org or the NC811 app.
All right, here we go. Going back to green, lap number 16. We literally were off for like 10 seconds, and me and Kevin we were having a discussion, a good one, by the way, too. As we go green, and Kev, I'm going to bring up what you said, because I think you nailed the hammer or the nail on the head, and I guess the hammer on the nail, whatever. But either way, it's the $1 million question. What do you get for leading lap 17? You get a bonus point.
You get a bonus point, one.
That's it.
Yeah, and they know, and you know, driver maybe they want to win the race, of course, and they want to have the most laps led if that's a something. But we were having the conversation. I'd go up, I'd lead my lap, and I'd put the
get out.
parachute on.
Mm-hmm. And that's more for the playoff drive. If I'm E.J. O'Rourke, if I'm Kevin DeBrown, Robert Friery, I mean, race your race. And I'm not saying that the playoff drivers should not run their race either. But look right here.
Yeah.
Gonzalez into Friery, who goes into the infield. Caution out for the second time. And I think this turns out to be only a single car spin.
That's a bold move there, Cotton.
Jeez.
I don't know. I think he just squirted it out of the line, went down, mowed a little bit of grass, and everybody just kept the hammer on and drove right around it.
And who did this pay off for? Nelson Rivera, who gets the lucky dog and comes right back to the lead lap.
Nelson was in huge trouble because when this field took off, he was in no man's land. He was a quarter track back. You know, you never know how the Talladega gods will shine on you. And right now, the beam is coming down out of the sky on top of that 22 here. That's just what the doctor ordered for him.
So we look at the replay here. Let's do this. All right, so you got Kevin DeBrown pushing the 41 up top here. Again, when that car gets hot, the tandem's going to lose momentum. Okay? So you lose momentum. Third car in line loses momentum. Fourth car in line loses momentum. I'm now going to speed it up. Fourth car is going to jump out of line. And he jumped out. Oh, wow, and Calantoni just missed him. So that was literally a product of them tandeming down into the corner and coming out of the corner and losing the momentum from the tandem, losing its steam. Everybody had to check up. Jose went to make a move, and unfortunately hooks to 77. And I'm pretty sure that the 84 there is going to need a new pair of underbritches, as a lot of cars are on pit road again. But let's go on board with Jose here. But that's once again another playoff driver that that could have went really bad for.
I think the 84 did hit him in the door, but just kind of pirouetted him off. I don't know that we see any damage to the 84, but he did plink him. That's one of those instances where you're just minding your own business, and next thing you know,
Right?
because somebody goes across the front of your nose.
Yay! I mean, there's one way to tell if there's contact or not. Go to the nose.
Go to the nose. It always
You know
knows.
what? It looks like, you know what? I don't even know if it was a T-bone, as much as I think the front end whipped around and caught Calantoni here. Because how quick Robert's car spins around here. I mean, if he hit him, it's like with the left front and scraped him. That's still a hell of a drive by Calantoni, and I don't even know if he had a chance to even break.
Yeah, in the one view I just looked at it, it was inches. Inches. I don't believe he actually touched him. That's how close it was. What a crazy way to see it.
So Gonzalez leads, Calantoni second, Campbell third, O'Rourke fourth. Which leads to another idea, by the way. Wonder what would happen if we made Talladega the final race of the season.
Well, you heard that NASCAR put a cup race in the championship next year.
They did, yeah, Daytona, yeah, and Talladega. So, yeah. But no, I make that joke because, like, man, if they're gonna race like this at a elimination race, but at the last race, let's see how these guys really race then for the championship. No, fair.
Atlanta, yeah. If I'm not mistaken, Atlanta's in the 20, which is basically.
So you got what, a third of the NASCAR playoffs or a super speedway race? They'll have
Racing.
a surprise when they get to Atlanta, because this will be year number 3. And that track's probably going to get the wearing now. So
Which I'm excited to see how that's going to work out. But,
I'm going to go ahead and make the call now. I said it a couple years ago. I'll say it again now. I think within the next 2 years, they'll be back to regular racing at that track. Because they'll be too worn out for anybody to super speedway race. That's just my humble opinion. I've been wrong plenty of times, Cotton, and I'll be wrong again.
I think you got it on the mark. So Jose Gonzalez leading this race. Right? Think about his eventual...
Somehow. Yeah. Calantoni second. Campbell, O'Rourke, and Kelly.
It's been a crazy season for the Sim500 teams. I'll tell you, just a total mix of different, both dominance from Pedro Mojica and what he's been able to do, a couple multiple-time winners, and then you have to love when you look down the stack and you see that other drivers have snuck in here. Donnie Leas pulled a couple wins. You have Bentley Glazer, the popular win by Glenn Campbell recently.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been a really interesting season, not predictable whatsoever, and it's hard to tell what's going to happen in these final couple races.
I think this is one of those. Let's get through tonight first before we get to those other races. Is there we go, and Jose takes off. I've always been opposed to this. Wait a minute. Isn't it the rule about the restart zone?
Look how spread out everything is.
Well, I'm pretty sure this might get looked at, because as far as I know in Sim500, you have to go in the restart zone.
Yeah, as soon as you hit the restart zone, it's up to the leader to do what he needs to do.
From what I just saw, he was closer to Birmingham than he was to restart zone. Let's, yeah, he's on the gas now. And there's the restart zone.
Well,
let's see if anything gets called there.
They are having a little conversation in the voice chat, but difficult to officiate the race in the throes of it, especially when several of the admins are competing in the event. So,
which is true, and everybody is back on track. Tommy Ryan did come back and reconnect, so I wonder if he had some kind of issue with his wheel or something. As they're almost 4 wide.
Down. Josh Parker's still 2 laps down, but now finds himself in the potential for a lucky dog, so he's the one that's looking for a caution next go round.
Yeah, he would have been the lucky dog for both cautions. However, it was like as soon as somebody went a lap down, the caution came out and that person got the lucky dog and went back around. So Parker, well, let me take that back. Parker was the first caution. He was the lucky dog. And then it was Gonzalez not Gonzalez, but Nelson Rivera. As the action begins again, Chapter 3.
At this point, the restart is academic, right? Everybody pretty much gathered right back up. And what we've not talked about very much, it hasn't surfaced per se, is teammates. What brings me together is the 2 personal comfort cars running nose to tail here. And, we've seen some teammate work.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
And they saved it.
Holy cow, how did Stenzel get that thing straight? Incredible.
And
I'm sure Bobby Wetzel is not happy.
And that's a product, again, of just cars are switching lanes and just... I mean, it's like the last lap. Every lap here is... Look who's leading. Dougie Roth at the bottom lane. As Parker's got teammates up top, though.
Yeah, it's been a crazy night so far.
Ooh. Work pokes out pretty late there.
And here comes Kevin DeBrown back into the lead.
Could you imagine if a caution were to come out and Parker was out front here? He would gain 2 laps in one caution because he'd get the hard way here, get the 1 lap back. Then he'd be the lucky dog for being a lap down.
I'm looking at this leaderboard and it just keeps bouncing all over the place. Nobody's really dominated it. We had Kelly DeBrown O'Rourke, Macklin, Comstock, Arnold, Gonzalez, Calantoni out front. I mean, Roth now in the 43. We see just about a quarter to a third of the field has led a lap here tonight, with O'Rourke being the one so far that's been out front the most.
Here's like
But
four
look at the track complexion. There are cars spread out in large gaggles right now.
This looks like the old. I know I keep comparing things. We go back to the 2003 and 4 season. I think it was around that time period where NASCAR decided to shorten up the fuel cells. And as Jose Gonzalez loses the lead to E.J. O'Rourke again, and basically did that to separate the packs from the big wreck. And you were almost getting racing like this, but the second pack has now caught the first pack. And the third pack is coming pretty quickly back here.
Yeah, Jatina has a bumper full of the 31 of Eric Arnold, who's beating the Ford off of the...
It's a good way to censor that word.
Joe Hudson in the Hardy's car. What a sharp-looking race car that is. He's just hanging tough, too. And, you know, this will be an interesting test to see if the second group can run down the first.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Rowdy Burns, didn't he run a Hardy's paint scheme? And I know.
Yeah.
The other whose name I forget, not Cole Churchill, but the other antagonist in the movie, played by Carrie Ewells. I forget the character he played, but I know he ran a Hardy's car. But wasn't there a Hardy's number 51 at one point?
Blue and gold, right?
Right.
Blue and gold car.
And if there was a Hardy's 51, I wonder if that's why he did the number switch and everything.
I don't know, but that's a shiny car. That thing really has a lot of chromey.
I'm about to keep an eye on Brian Wortman tonight. And I know right now he is 15 seconds back rolling with Rivera. But this is the kind of action here that puts Brian Wortman in victory lane at the end of the night.
You're the problem, Tim. There's one too many roosters in the hen house.
As they say in today's world, facts. About the tamest it's been up front so far as we will look up there at that lead pack.
But they did get double file. And they're still switching lanes back and forth. So.
It's like they're listening to my voice like, all right, time to go.
But this is going to bring that second group in. Because when they run, this side-by-side race.
Oh, Jeff Ryan! He just went elevator move to the lead.
Oh, boy.
I mean, he was the third car in lane and said, "Yep, going to the bottom."
Yeah, these boys, they're having a blast tonight. I'm just looking at some of these names we've not talked about at all, right? Even through this whole miss, Chad Coleman running 18th. Right behind him, Gerald Livingston, who started shotgun, running 19th. Charles Van Schaik, he's just riding back there along with Scott Simley. And, you just look at some of these drivers. If at some point a big incident occurs and clears out this front half of the field, you're going to end up with a whole new cast of players at the end of this thing. I think that's what they're counting on.
I mean, the usual deck of wild cards. Those are the guys running up front. And I look at Kevin DeBrown. I look at E.J. O'Rourke. I look at, what was the other name I used? Oh, Eric Arnold's usually up here. I don't see him. He's back about the 7th car in the inside lane. So, I mean, those usual cast of characters are the ones running up front for the most part here. As Gonzalez goes back to the lead, you can add him to that wild card list. And then you've got the usual guys who hang back and just kind of let this race come to them.
And the car that has nothing to lose, he's out front by such a big margin from a point championship, is Pedro. Where's he? Last car
in line.
In this entire pack. Just kind of riding around there. He's thinking about, well, I need milk, I need bread, I could get some ice cream.
Hey, honey, what's the weather this week?
What kind of groceries he's going to get from the Piggly Wiggly or something back there.
It's about what you do when you're back there.
Yeah.
Sit there and have a conversation. Well, then again, he about to hit somebody back there. Who's that?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Getting feisty again up here up front.
Of Seth Foudy. I don't know. You could never rest on your laurels with this racetrack. It could be 20 cars ahead of you. They start spinning and crashing, and by the time you get on the binders, you're there, and you still have to pick a lane, an evasive maneuver, and so on. So you're never really out of trouble if you're somewhere even at the back end of this pack.
Well, either way, I'm staying out of this mess right now if I'm in the car. But if I'm in the booth, race all you want to. This is fun. That's kind of how I feel right now. Everybody's joined into the pack now, though. It's all 28 cars on the lead. Well, I'm sorry, 25 of the 28 cars.
We were just talking about Seth Dowdy falling off the back. He is in the middle lane, and he just drove all the way through. Pardon me, excuse me, coming through. He's going past Macklin, who's running, you know, in that group, and he's caught that front group from the last car, 4 car lengths off of the final car in the back of the pack. He's just driven through with no effort at all. So
yeah, that's what the kind of runs are in these cars. It's crazy. In this car, the runs you get, and I think a lot of the wrecks you see in this race so far are either bad bumps or simple misjudgments of the runs, and people turn down and don't realize, oh, that guy's coming about 20 mile an hour faster than I'm going.
there's such an odd dynamic because when you're out there riding around in the back, just kind of cruising, car feels pretty steady. Every once in a while it does a little juke here and there. But when you're up in that mix, right in tight, you could watch all these cars waving back and forth. They're not doing that. They're in there constantly providing feedback on that steering wheel to compensate for the way the car wobbles around in the wind. And at any given point, it might do something like that, unusual.
And at the same time,
Watching 41.
and to add what you're saying there too is how many of these cars are running small wheelbases right now. You know, with the rack and pinion steering, you want to have as quick steering as possible in these cars. So if you do get sideways or want to make a move instantly, you can make that move. So I mean, look, Gonzalez is that. Look at the pushing going on up there. You got a wall right next to you, and you're getting shoved down a straightaway. I mean, I guess the one thing, you go back to that Richard Petty quote, the reason why he ran the wall so much, quickest distance to the wall.
Yeah, you're going to hit it. You don't hit it as big. You know, one of the things we need to update everybody
Jeff
on.
Ryan, Kevin Brown pokes out, bam! They hit for you. Go ahead now.
The 19 of Tyler Dalton is sitting there behind the 44, running currently in the 15th, now 17th place. His damage did not appear to be detrimental to his ability to run right here in the draft.
Well, the one thing with this newer build that we've had recently is, look at Foudy, Superman topside. Oh, Superman about just lost a war. Oh, geez. So that's what I'm talking about, the runs. And then you're getting these people that are, I don't want to say throwing blocks, but they're almost at the same time trying to keep the momentum to keep themselves up front here. And that's where you're seeing this action happen. I mean, look at Gonzalez up to the top. Now, that's more of a block. Then all of a sudden it cuts, I mean, DeBrown to the middle all of a sudden. Now he's got EJ shoving him. Jose's back to the bottom to protect that. Now he's at, oh, boy. And now you're four wide. Wow. That's what I'm saying. It's like, it's almost better off. I mean, it's exciting, but if I'm driving the car, I'm like, man, I'll just stay up here at top. I'll lose the position for now. You'll get the run back at him in a second.
That 81 may be leading this pack, but he has one lap down. So now he's naturally on the lead lap.
No, actually, no, he's still a lap down. That's in front. He's a lap down right now. He's actually 2 laps down. That's what I'm saying. If he gets the caution, right now being up front, he would be the lucky dog and get the lap back the hard way.
93 just scraped the wall going down the back straightaway.
Viewers, I hope you're enjoying this as much as we are. I do appreciate watching the stream. If you're new to the chat, hit subscribe. If not, go tell some friends to come enjoy the... they're about to wreck, aren't they? Oh my gosh, I thought Arnold was going to turn O'Rourke. Because literally what I'm seeing is you're getting tandems that are pushing each other in the pack here. They're getting clear. They're making a move to turn down or go up, and the other car's going up there, and the momentum has got to be 10 miles an hour difference.
And the question is, why do this, right? And part of it is you're trying to learn. You're trying to learn, right?
Right.
I think more of it is insanity, but you're trying to learn.
I mean,
you know, how that is going to work on the final lap.
Kevin
What's the push gonna do?
Brown, oh my gosh, he is in the middle of the track and he is blinking profusely. Everybody did a good job of like moving from him. See if I can find a driver here that I can. Let's see if I can kind of predict the next run. Who's going to get it? And I want to try to get with their car and see if we could throw the. Matter of fact, I'm going to throw a dashboard up right now. So Wesley Donaldson, 188 mile an hour up in the lead right now. So let's get a run. Let's watch the 41 here on the bottom. 189, going to go 190. He's getting pushed right now. So it slowed back down. Who? Foudy's pushing Wesley Donaldson back. Oh, they're 4 wide.
Robert Fiery, who was in the grass, he's right there back in that mix.
O'Rourke to the apron as Eric Arnold goes to the lead now. I'm trying to find where the next run's going to come from. I think I know exactly where it's going to come from. Let's go to the Comstock car. Look at that, 194. He is 6 mile an hour faster on the leader right now, going into turn 1. So imagine if he had somebody tandem pushing. He'd probably be close to 200 mile an hour.
I look at this and say we're 45 minutes almost into the event, completing lap number 38. These drivers have been up on the wheel. They've had 2 cautions to give them a smidge of a break, but it is tedious to run this way, to be on top of the cars in front of you, to be scanning the field all the time. It mentally will wear you out.
You know how many miles 38 laps is? 100 miles.
100 miles.
Here comes Doug Roth. Oh,
Wow.
boys.
Scott Simley up there for the first time tonight that I've seen him in the number 12, running in the top 5. The 9 of Wetzel has reasserted himself. He's in the outside lane leading.
I just want to sit back and watch. That's literally like I know. Just this is
Here
just
comes
like you
Glenn
had
Campbell through the middle. Haven't seen much of him tonight.
Kansas winner right there. 44 middle row middle third row. Joe Hudson coming in. You see Jatina kind of backs out of the pack. He's like, no.
No. Do we have an
Gonzalez,
in-car
don't do this,
of
please.
the Audi
I
tonight?
wish tonight would have been a perfect night, but he got in kind of
yeah.
late. It looked like so. So let's. What's it like being the leader at Talladega?
I'm looking at the 30.
Watch Kevin, see if he pulls down there.
18.
Here comes
18. Just kind of riding around in the 30.
I'm doing this because, like, I want you guys, the viewers watching this, to see the runs that are coming and what the leaders and other cars are doing in these packs sometimes. I mean, Josh is still pushing. Here comes Roth. There goes Josh. Oh, bye, Felicia.
No help from the back.
There's a block. I mean, this is just, like you said, I think insanity is the perfect word right now.
There's a bunch of different dynamics to observe from that shot. The 26 peeked out. It is a couple things to think about. Did he peek out to get some air on the nose to lower the temperature? Did he peek out to signal the car behind him that he wanted to run and he was willing to go? Did he peek out to try and keep the momentum? Sometimes you get such a run on the car in front of you, and if you peek out, you could just draw alongside them and not have to tap the brake. All these things are going on as the driver processes what's going through his head.
Sorry, Kevin Brown just literally stuffed Jose in the wall.
Or his trunk.
Yeah.
But you're looking in the mirror, you're looking out front, you're looking out your left side window, usually.
Yes.
All while doing 180, 200 miles an hour down the backstretch. wondering if the car behind you is going to tap you in the turn and turn you sideways in front of the whole field.
We got another element that's about to come into play here potentially, Kev. We all pitted about lap 18 or 19. These cars get about 38 laps. Ooh, there's a bump. Or so on fuel, about 100 miles. And see, 42 from 19, that's 30 laps almost. So we're going to be going up on pit stop soon.
Drivers who were closer to that. The Galantoni cars got 29 laps in the tank. The 29 laps for Jose Gonzalez. Both of them did not pit. So, and one's at the front of the field. The other is out in the back of the field. So the question lies, are they going to find each other? At minimum, you do not want to pit by yourself.
What color is 84? 84 is New York Giant blue, basically. He's got the Kyle Larson. It's the Ricky Hendrick throwback that Kyle Larson runs with New York Giant colors on the 84. And it's a Talking Giants podcast that you're seeing. For the question there, hello. Oh, and there goes Jose through the grass. Jose gets turned, and it's O'Rourke with him. No caution yet.
Wow. Wow, how about that?
O'Rourke ended up saving it. But Jose Gonzalez, once again, has himself in a real bad hole.
Would he have a penalty from that, going down through the grass onto pit road?
Did he go to pit road? Then yes, it'll be an unsafe. Now, that might get cleared because of something outside of his doing. Let's see how that transpired. Probably contact somewhere, obviously. It's already happened here. And O'Rourke got to his inside and turned him. I'm not sure if the 41 even checked up.
That is the tale of Jose's season, is it not?
I mean, it's... But in fairness to Jose, I know I've been sitting up here kind of, I don't want to use the word critical, but questioning some of the moves these guys are making in this race because of what's on the line. But that's how Jose races. He's aggressive.
Yeah.
Be you, you know? But look,
well,
Mark.
There was a bit of a block and a tap to that left rear quarter panel, and that's never going to work going through there. He suffered a reasonable amount of damage over on that left side, but the fact that he stayed in the grass to come back to the racetrack, he was able to drive out of there and keep out of that caution zone on the race surface. So,
and you got to remember, you got Chevrolet cars that don't push well. I think was Arnold up in the outside wall just now. That little checkup back there. You've got the Ford noses that push pretty well. The Toyota noses are okay. And you're trying to push up against different looking rear ends. Go down the highway. Try to picture a Camry pushing a Camaro, or and then a Camaro pushing a Mustang. They don't match up.
They all saw that 26 go off to the grass, and you wonder, does that have any psychological impact?
No.
Right?
I mean, if anything, the first three yellows should have said something, but no. Yeah. Or two yellows, what we've had.
You got Hudson up there now, running in that top 10, running 5th on the scoreboard. This is where, and you just said something really interesting a moment ago, drivers are situating themselves for a pit stop.
Yeah.
And as they do that,
are they though?
I think your best bet is to be up in that front part of the pack. So when you peel off, if you miss your box, if you slide through your box, if you forget to turn your tires off and you only plan to change 2 and you end up with 4, at least you can mitigate a pinch of your damage by being that far ahead of everybody else as you go to pit road.
Yeah, because, I mean, look at Scott Simley right now, who leads. You got Seth Foudy there in second. If those guys go to pit road right now and have a little mistake, they have about a second of give, if you will, to fix their problem. If you go back here to Gerald Livingston, who's the last car in line, he makes a mistake. He's out of the draft. He's done.
East Coast, yeah.
So that's where I've always been one of those. If you get within the last 5 laps and you know you're coming to pit road, now I don't know what I'd do in this mess. But if you know in the last 5 laps you're coming to pit road, get as much as you can get out of it and get to the front or as close as you can to it in a safe way. Because right now, like, I'm watching Wetzel push Joe Hudson do 3 and 4. Now, folks, that is not a real Dodge Charger. It's just got the template of it. I think it's a Ford, actually, with the Dodge nose on it. Again, it's a video game, technically, so everybody can do modifications. Don't yell at me saying it's a sim. I know it's a simulator. You get my point, though. Creativity.
I actually think that car looks cool.
It does look, it looks awesome with that template. Absolutely.
And there were conversations about some other Dodge livery coming too.
Oh, let's see, what else did Dodge run back in the day? They ran the Challenger, they ran the Charger, the Intrepid back in 01.
Yeah. Casey Atwood, right? Wasn't that an Intrepid?
Well, the him, Sterling Marlin, Bill Elliott, Dave Blaney, Ward Burton, all that back in the 90s. Ward Burton. And I've heard rumors, by the way, of a certain individual in this series you would be shocked potentially running a Ward Burton scheme in the future.
Yes.
I was like, when he said, I'm like, wait, what?
I think that's cool.
I think it's awesome, especially if he can knock out the Ward Burton Virginia accent.
I'll take a shot to that.
Well, I mean, you're kind of from up there, so I can see it.
That ties to the driver, but
Doug Roth. Oh, absolutely. I agree with that 100%.
It reminds me of the Barbie commercial. I'll take a shot to that.
He's trying to do that joke.
You know, I have a friend as the Malibu house. She's been an astronaut and then this and that. I think he can. I'll take a shot. Yeah.
What's
All right.
put himself up on the wall in the trial.
Everybody's wondering, like, what the heck is he talking about?
Oh, I know.
But when you see the scheme somewhere down the road, put that shot together and you'll figure it out. If you haven't already. You notice everybody's kind of hunting that low line.
Mm-hmm. They're kind of calming down. Yep.
Line.
So right now we're at 43 laps to go. These cars need to find a way to do, I would say, another 5 laps. If they can get 5, 6, 7 laps out of this car, come to pit road, you might as well pack up the stuff.
Get in line, get in line, get in line. Oh, and get in line.
Now, I'm not sure who Kevin's talking to, but he's spotting for somebody.
No, that's what everybody's saying. They're on the outside.
Oh, I thought you were spotting for Doug Roth and saying, get in line, Roth.
Yeah. Now, maybe some of these guys think they're going to eke another lap or so, and they'll be out.
Well, here's what you do. Here's another way of looking at this, because again, I've run a lot of super speedway races recently, just because that's where I'm at now in my days of iRacing. And I look at it like this. If I know I'm going to be pitting on the first lap, or at least think you're going to be the first lap of a run to pit road, I'm going to be in the bottom lane. I'm going to be ready to go. But if I know that we're not pitting until after the first pack is, I'm going to stay up top, because eventually there's going to be a checkup at the bottom, and you're going to have some separation of cars, and you'll still have the momentum going on the top side.
Well, and the other thing is everybody kind of checks up and slows down on that bottom line. You keep humming right along.
Exactly.
You can carry the speed to fill the gaps that are left for the cars that peeled off.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and that's exactly it too. To get the gap, and you get a run, and you get down to the bottom, and say, like, if Simley and Foudy and Comstock come to pit road, and I'm on the outside lane, I can get down there and just try to push Parker as much as I can to keep the momentum up, and now I'm on the bottom lane ready to pit. There's a couple of little things here, but look at this. A whole outside lane somehow, choo-choo, going past, and then Hudson jumps to the bottom.
Get on board the train. They are hauling up there.
Dude, Arnold about spun himself out just trying to go to the bottom.
Whoa! The moves from, we always talk about the banking at this racetrack, how steep it is, and they drop from the top of the banking 3-4 lanes down to the bottom, and it just looks so abrupt as they do it.
I mean, watch this right here. Let's go to the rear end of, watch this here, Arnold. Turn left now. I mean,
Well, and the funny thing is you're driving and a lot of these drivers run 3 screens. They can see out the right side of the car, but if the car is off to your back, you can only see to about your periphery vision off your right ear.
Yeah, it's
And if a
about, yeah.
car is coming with the run from the top, you don't know it's there until it's at your front fender. You might flinch at seeing it coming. So,
And at that point, your next best visual is your mirror. And I'm talking about rear view mirror, not the right side mirror. You got to look out the rear and kind of see where the car is. They're 4 wide here in the front. Wetzel thinks better of it. I mean, these guys are doing a hell of a job for how wild this has been.
cars are coming off turn 2 to the backstretch, and out in front of them, there's a pack of a couple cars running together.
Yeah,
It'll
Jose
be
Gonzalez.
Jose Gonzalez, who picked up Doug Sigmund. Nelson Rivera's running in that group along with Brian Wertman. And so the question is, will they catch them before we get to green flag pit stops?
50.
I think right now, if the 4 of them behave, they can probably keep themselves out there.
Well, I think Sigmund needs to get to the back of Gonzalez and start pushing. And I say that only on the straightaways, obviously, but that would contribute to keeping them on the lead lap right now. But if they stay like this, I mean, look at Rivera fall off, look at Wertman fall off. That's just dragging them back.
Yeah, and let's talk about draft in this car.
Look at this run by O'Rourke. I mean, it was like he was shot out of a cannon. Sorry, Kev. Go ahead.
No, the speed that they're getting is just astonishing to watch the runs. But when you're drafting, sometimes you drivers want to be tucked right on the bumper, pushing. Others talk about this mythical bubble where you pull up to the bumper, but you don't make contact and you stay within a small bumper's width, and you can be faster running nose to tail without actually making contact. And so these drivers, in looking at the package every time iRacing gets updated, they evaluate this.
Yeah.
And you're seeing different plays. Drivers have different ideas about what it means to push, whether it physically means contact or whether they're trying to find the bubble. And 2 cars running nose to tail with the 3rd car off just a little bit, that seems to be the secret recipe according to some drivers in the garage area.
So, Lou, to answer your question, thank you for watching. First off, Lou DiProfio, I believe is how it's pronounced. The P next to everyone's name on the timing and scoring means they're the playoff drivers. The A that you're seeing, like down there where Josh Parker is, who's 2 laps down, and you'll see the A also on Pedro Mojica, those drivers have already advanced into the next round because they're too far ahead of the drivers that are on the bubble. So, hopefully that helps out. Appreciate you watching.
There's only 1 car, the 43, maybe 2 cars in that top line. What does that mean?
They're coming soon. Well, I see those back 4 you were talking about a second ago. They're on pit road right now.
Yeah.
So Livingston, Gonzalez, Sigmund, and Wertman all coming in. Now, what they need to do is get as organized as quick as possible and try to push as much as they can right now when they come out of pit road so that they can try to gain some time on this pack.
They're also probably secretly hoping for a caution while the pack pits, right? Because that's something you do see on occasion.
Now, here we go. Looks like a couple of team name guys coming to pit road. Kevin DeBrown and Josh Parker. Parker coming in hot. Parker started in the back, so he'll go ahead and get to his pit stall. Kevin towards the front.
Drop it like it's hot.
All right, Snoopy. D-O-double-G. So let's show you relatively where the leaders, the 41's the leader. And you see the pack of the cars I was talking about. Gerald Livingston apparently pitted because he's up here ahead of the pack by himself. He was in the lead pack. So Parker did a great job, by the way, coming off pit road 15.9, 16 flat, slow stops.
The 3 cars that pitted out, they shed Doug Sigmund. He wasn't able to keep up with them in that exchange, but you have the 26, the 74, and the 22 together, and they're hoping that as they come around, they'll pick up some additional cars to join that.
Now, here's where everybody's got to...
81, right?
Yes, absolutely. And here's where everybody's got to remember where their pit stall is and who's around them. Don't spin out. Don't get hit. But yeah, I mean, losing Gerald Livingston, or losing the guy you just talked about, Sigmund, that's going to hurt them. That pack is now you're going to only have 3 cars.
But they did pick up the 81, it looks like, in the 93, which is going to be an outstanding addition for that
That's a pretty
group.
good trade-off.
Yeah.
Which that ought to show you how good of a stop those other guys had. Because now they've picked up who are technically the leaders of the race. What a call by those guys. Unless they're getting lapped.
Going off 10 to 12. Come to pit road. They're trying to get to the line, get stopped. Fryer locks up the brakes. Foudy's in. So is the 13 of Comstock. 3 of Jeff Ryan. 51 of Joe Hudson. The 2. Mike Kelly. Charles Van Schaik drops in his stall. And there is a whole host of business going down there on pit road.
Let me correct myself, Dad. That would be to lap them. They didn't have that good of a stop where they made up a whole lap. So let me think about that before I sound worse than I already do. So 4 tires and fuel for everybody. Right in the pit window now. 34 laps to go. Should see Pedro and Coleman to pit road here in just a second. As there goes everybody leaving pit road now.
10 leads the charge with the 12, the 77, the 13, and the 15 in tow. They get single file on the apron, getting ready to come back to the racetrack, where they can't enter the racetrack until they get over off that apron on turn 2 as the field streaks by.
And of course, that apron, you got to be careful. This track's very aggressive when it comes to the merging too quickly rule. I mean, you get 2 wheels above that line or even on the line in the corner, and you get penalized.
So big second group finishing their pit stops as that group that just exited the racetrack got in right behind the other cars. So there's a pretty big gaggle of cars here. Now, what will be the fate of that second group? We'll have to see as everybody comes around and merges back together. Will they be one big contingent, or will this break the field up, as we talked about in green flag pit stops, which tends to shed some cars because everybody doesn't have a clean stop?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to break up too much because everybody's pretty close together. As you see Pedro and Kevin DeBrown and Tommy Ryan come off pit road, those should be able to merge up here. Hopefully nobody does a LePage here. Everybody be careful, and there they go. Pedro's in it. This is going to be a big wreck. Or a big save by everybody.
Oh,
everybody saved it.
Unbelievable.
And now it's really going to be a big pack once they get back together. But that was one of those cars had to adjust. The cars are coming off pit road. They got to have a right to merge. It's just a matter of working with each other.
And the question is, who? Was it Pedro?
Well,
the 41 got together with the 99.
Well, Pedro was right there ahead of Tommy when it happened. Matter of fact, Tommy Ryan did actually crash, I think. So here's your replay. So you see the leaders coming off turn 2. These guys are going to slowly try to merge on the track safely. And then, wow, Tommy actually wrecks. Inside wall, bam.
I want to say that was a push on the 30 to the 26 that got his car sideways.
Well,
I'm going to retract that. I'm pretty sure that there was a side draft bump to the 41 and the 26 coming off of turn 2, and they just
here's where track awareness comes into play. Gonzalez, Rivera, these guys here in the middle lane, they should know these 3 cars are coming off the bottom here to come back on the track. So if these guys are moving up, everybody should probably move up, but they didn't, and, well, people come together.
Yeah, it has not been Tommy Ryan's night. Well, I'll tell you. The hit that he took should have drawn a caution, but sometimes when you get down there in no man's land and then the car continues to drive away before anybody else is in that vicinity, we're not going to see a caution from that.
So we've got 31 laps to go. We have 8 cars in the lead pack, counting the lap car of Josh Parker. And then it's about 3.5 seconds back to Mike Kelly, who's got a row of about 15 cars that are not single file. That's not helping things here. As Seth Foudy tries to push that 2 car. And that's what's separating everything out right now. Let's actually hope we can get through this. Let's take a quick break and let's get Sim500 and 811 their proper time. As you're watching the Sim500. And so I go, oh, Mike Kelly in for the infield. Never mind. See, I was going to take a chance. I mean,
And he just comes back up.
he did a good job. Now, this is how you properly merge. Everybody gave him some room. He should be at speed still. Casey Carrington pointing out what I said earlier, 4 broadcasts at Talladega this week. I'm a happy man. The one broadcast I don't have at Talladega this week, New Hampshire. I said that like it's the worst thing in the world.
Mike Kelly's going to come back to the line after sliding off the racetrack.
Stay in line. That's
sideways
great.
And still somewhere near the top 20. That's incredible.
And he only ran a second slower than his last lap. He was out there catching a hot dog in the infield. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. All right, as promised, 811. Let's get a word from you guys real quick as you're watching Sim500 here on Captain Esports. Give me 15 seconds, guys.
If recent storms have caused damage to your property, contact 811 before you begin your cleanup. Buried utilities around uprooted trees can make a bad situation worse if those lines are not located before digging. Electric, natural gas, and internet lines are everywhere, and knowing where they are is the safest way to start any digging project. Call North Carolina 811 by dialing 811 or by using single address ticket on nc811.org or the NC811 app.
All right, back we are. I appreciate it, and I thank all the field for driving safe for 15 seconds. As we're still green here, Talladega Superspeedway, 28 laps to go. Kevin DeBrown leading Brian Macklin, Richard Beasley, Scott Simley, Robert Fryery the third, who's been in the grass once, Scott Stenzel, who's been around once, Wetzel Comstock, at least the front 7 right now, part of a pack of 8 at the front of the field, and then you have the rest of the Hornets' Nest back here after a near big one that ended up being a big save coming off of pit road when Mojica, Chad Coleman, and Tommy Ryan came off of green flag pit stops and had contact with the pack as they were coming through or trying to get on the track, and it broke up this pack pretty well.
I'm just looking at the 13 of David Comstock being pushed by E.J. O'Rourke. He just absolutely destroying the bumper cover, beating on him all the way around the racetrack pretty much. And they have tried to narrow that gap, and just a tick at a time they're getting it. They were 4.7 last time coming off turn 4. Now they're 4.4 seconds. So this second group is reeling in that first group, and I suspect when they get there, they're going to drive right on by if they can have a say in it.
Well, they're going to need a lot of help here because you mentioned it's down to 4.43 right now, and obviously plenty of laps to go. But when I say plenty, 26, yeah, it's a lot, but when it comes to having to chase down the lead, it's not a lot.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they can get there being the size of this racetrack, and especially since everybody got the memo, which is rather unusual, right? These guys who can't agree on anything through the entire race, when you're in that second group and you know you need to get nose to tail in order to catch that first group, it's almost like somebody walked down and go, get in line, get in line, get in line, get in line, get in line.
Pretty much. It took all of 69 laps, well, a little bit less than that, 65 laps, for the field to figure, hey, let's go single file for a little bit.
Yeah, and a couple drivers are looking for caution. Certainly the 81 of Josh Parker has been waiting for that caution the entire race. Right now, Eric Arnold running in that 22nd position, along with Doug Roth and Doug Sigmund, and a couple of those drivers either running one lap or they are not in the front 2 groups and probably won't have a say until a caution comes out here.
As Parker just shuffled himself out of line and Kevin DeBrown takes the lead. And Parker might have just hurt himself because he is going to lose that front pack. That, I might say it was a mistake on Parker's part. I mean, unless is Parker falling back to go get Comstock and maybe going to pull them up to the pack. That would be interesting to see. And I say that because remember, Comstock's looking outside in right now for the points.
It almost feels like he was. I don't. It almost looked intentional, but it didn't.
No, right. It's I'm almost thinking to myself, it's too risky to make a move like that. But when you're already advanced in the playoffs and nothing to lose, why not?
He squirted off the line just a touch. And then when he looked like he was going to come back down, the 93 was there. And if they'd have made contact, it probably could have turned him. So he took the better part of valor, I'm guessing, but I'm not positive.
Yeah,
See how the car sneaks up just a little bit up out of the corner, and then he was unable to get back down and cover it.
Yeah, see, now Parker's getting swallowed up by the second pack, so he's just going to join along with him. And another thing it did, well, obviously it's going to lose him some time because now they're 6 seconds back. Here comes Parker poking out of line. Now let's see if Comstock moves up. There's the move by Comstock. These two are going to hook up. That's what you're going to see here. Or not, as Parker goes to the bottom. What in the world? Then there goes Comstock to the bottom.
Let's see if the 38 joins in this little fracas.
I think they're trying to work together here.
Yeah, all of them team name got lined up down there on the bottom with the...
Yep, Pedro's down there too. Good call on that. Charles Van Schaik, who's not a team name guy, but he's in line with him by default.
The Iron Man's going to lead the group.
That seemed like a big risk on Josh's part, and I commend him if that's what he was really doing.
But this front group was going to run nose to tail and not have any challenges for a potential caution, which is what he needs. So if he could bring this entire group up, it might actually benefit him.
Hello.
If the three of them don't wreck before.
Yeah, I was going to say hello to the 3-car tandem here. Let's see, it's 38 times 13 is 51 plus 81. The 132 car here. He used to joke around with the Michael Waltrip and Dale Jr. 23 car.
Right. Tony Stewart and Jr. when they were tapped together there.
Well, and then it became Stewart and Waltrip for a little bit.
So these guys they were 4.7, now they're 7.3.
Yeah, they lost a lot.
7.3 seconds back. So when they got side by side in this second group, it just absolutely destroyed any progress they were making. There's a lot of pushing and shoving going on in that middle group there.
I mean, and what better way to run? How are you going to run the fastest laps possible, Kev? You got to give it the person you're comfortable with. And for that, you think of Parker, he's ran well with Comstock. And then you got Chad Coleman. These guys are used to running together. And you got a very aggressive E.J. O'Rourke there, too. Those four, I mean, that could be the product. But guess what? They've lost a whole nother second this lap.
Just looking at the timer, they're not gaining and they're not losing, so to speak. So,
well, they ran 50-36 the last time by. Everybody in the front pack was in 49s, which again goes back to my question: is it too big of a pack they're running in now?
There will be a moment, however, when these front drivers are going to have to pull out to attempt to get the win.
Mm-hmm.
And from that perspective, as soon as they get side by side, that other group will be right there with them. It's an interesting mix up here in the front group, right? You have Kevin DeBrown and Brian Macklin, Mr. Super Speedway, followed by another Mr. Super Speedway. We called it right from the beginning. The 30 and the 10 were going to be formidable, and they found their way into the top 5. Scott Simley is typically paired up with the 2 of Mike Kelly and end up somewhere in this top 5. Pretty good racer on himself. Priory, who's had just an amazingly eventful evening here tonight, finds himself in a good spot. And Scott Stenzel, say what you want, he is always tucked somewhere, like there's a tow rope tied to the back of the 10. I've seen it time and time again where wherever the 10 goes, the 42 seems to follow. And if I look at dropping through the field, the 9 and Bobby Wetzel, he comes to spoil the party. That's his whole plan. He's here to win. He might show up on rare occasions, but when he does, he somehow always finds himself somewhere in that mix, and he's in this front group with the tagger on of Gerald Livingston running 24th, just looking for some roll bar padding or something right now.
I don't know what different these cars could do to help each other, because again, they're losing time. You look over to the left now, I've got the last lap times up there. 49-second laps by everybody but the second pack. I mean, so the front 7, 49.70s, 49.80s, 50.20s for this big pack here. And the one thing I'm seeing here is they're being aggressive, and it's just they're swerving around a little bit because of the pushing and stuff, but it just doesn't seem to be helping, which makes you wonder, does Chad Coleman maybe have some damage or something? But you know what? Here they go. They ran faster that lap, a 49.68 to a 35 in 20s. Problem is you're going to need a lot more than that now to catch these guys, because you got to gain 17 laps. You got to gain a half second a lap now to get to them.
Yeah, just looking at the sector maps, at 24.9s for the group as they pass through Sector 1 for the front group, and 24.8s. So there's certain parts of the racetrack where they seem to be, you know, they hit the loop lines and they're making better progress, but other times they're behind the curve.
16 laps to go as Kevin DeBrown, who this week said, hey, I'm going to give up my playoff spot because I have a career opportunity come up, and he decided tonight this is it, and he's going to walk away and go focus on that, and I wish him nothing but the best of luck in that. But with that said, it moved around a little bit of the playoffs. It moved some people, obviously everybody up a spot. Brian Macklin, who is the bubble guy right now, sitting right there in the second position. Let's look back here now, and I bring up some drivers. 21st right now, Tyler Dalton. He is at a really bad spot right now to potentially fall out of the playoffs. Is going to need to gain some spots here, obviously, as we get into the final laps. So he is one right now that could be in trouble. Mike Kelly, potentially. Callan Tony needs a lot of help because I think he was already out as we speak. As a matter of fact, let me just bring up the point standings so you guys can see it again for those who have just joined us, where we are right now. So this is the points entering the race. You see Macklin was the bubble guy. Comstock right now, he would be in probably. Wesley Donaldson, he is in 16th right now. He would probably fall out. Joe Hudson right now is... Joe Hudson's 12th. He'd be close. There's a lot of guys here that could probably fall, that would fall out of the top 10. Because remember, this is the bubble race right here. 10 drivers after tonight. Race for the championship. So this separation of the pack, and now you see some of the team name guys right on cue are starting to pull out a line together. Look at Callan Tony up there with Jatina, taking Tyler Dalton with him. They know that it is time for them to make moves. They realize that the best they can do in this situation right now is go finish 8th and hope for the best.
Yeah, Sim500 team against team name right there in that group. They are all tussling for positions. I think the one who's in the most trouble is the 26 of Jose Gonzalez. He's fallen off that group, and he was right there at the cut line. So now, not the night that Speedy was looking for.
How weird this sounds. The team name guys, Sim500 Mafia guys started making moves there. They gained time. The second pack did on the front pack. It is now 7.4. So right now it's still a half second a lap. If they can do it somehow, you get within about a second or so of the lead pack. All of a sudden this race gets really interesting at the end. But again, here's the question. When does, and I got to look at it like this, because you got team name up front right now, 1, 2, 3. Then you got Stenzel, who's a part of Turn 1 Heroes. You got Friery, who, let me go see what channel he's in. Friery is in the LaRue Esports team chat. And then you got Wetzel, who's a Sim500 Mafia guy. Then you got, so you got a mixture of people here up in the front. So chances are up front here, you're gonna have some people make moves here.
Yeah, and the question is, you're going to find some odd bedfellows there in that front pack, right? Because you have the 9 of Wetzel. He's got nobody to work with. But then again, neither does the 12 or the 77. Right. And so are they somehow trying to figure out how to hook up to try and take this from the 93? We wonder about the Josh Parker move. 2 laps down at this point. He needs to see a rash of cautions in order to get back into this mix.
Well, they've gotten it down the second pack from 7th place to 8th place. It's 6.2 seconds now. It's still 7 seconds to the leader. So they have knocked it down a good amount, but they have not knocked it down enough. Matter of fact, they're going to lose time in this lap.
I have to wonder if there were some adjustments that were required. So, for example, the 38 may be running wide open, and Chad Coleman leading that group with Comstock trying to push him and get to that magic bubble. Maybe they had communication where they said drag the brake a little bit, and that would bring him back to the 13. And surprisingly, that type of tactic makes it go faster. And they've had to tweak on the model here. We were talking about the different beliefs, and somehow, to your point, they did find a little speed here. So they're now back to 7.4 and closing the gap ever so slightly.
11 laps to go. I'm pretty sure you're going to see some racing out of this front pack here shortly.
Every one of those drivers in that front pack is saying to themselves, if we go now, we're going to mess this all up.
Look at this. As this front pack of 6 are all of a sudden pulled away, something must have happened to the 42 and lost a lot of momentum. And now that's going to allow Campbell and Donaldson to go by. That's actually O'Rourke. I'm sorry, in the 41. Something happened to O'Rourke, and he just lost all the draft momentum there of this pack.
.4 told steady over the last couple laps. So this group in the back made a little bit of a gain and then lost their mojo here. Laps are ticking off. I'd get a little bit nervous right now if I'm these guys.
I mean, to a point, some of this is out of your hands right now, but at the same time, you have control of what you can get. It's almost like you've got the recipe in front of you. Now go make the meal.
You feel so helpless if you're in that second group.
Yes, you do. Oh, the 51 got big loose. Trying to move up to get an outside lane and had to go catch it.
The aggression on the pushes and the bumps down the backstretch, you have to wonder, how can they continue to beat and bang on each other in this manner and not turn somebody sideways? Pedro Mojica is working now. He's not being complacent. He was hanging off the back of that group. He's now in the mix to the high side. He's brought a couple cars with him. Wesley Donaldson's with him. And every time someone pulls out a line at the bottom, the car behind him scoots up to try and take that position and fill the hole.
Right now you see Hudson up there topside with Mojica and Donaldson. Again, this is the second pack. The front pack is all single file up front right now still. As I'm watching still the times with Coleman, and believe it or not, Coleman and them are still catching the leader slowly now, as I've watched it drop about a 10th here down the straightaway. So again, you wonder if the second line is actually helping now that pack. I know it sounds...
There was some conversation in the model that if you were run side by side, you could run faster. I wouldn't have believed it, but we're seeing it on display here.
I've seen it done before. In certain packages on iRacing. I remember a couple of seasons ago, I think it was the trucks or something, if you actually went side by side, that was how you would catch a single file pack up ahead, because each line was pushing each other, and you just don't side draft. I mean, look at the lead down to 6.8 now. All of a sudden, there's something interesting going here.
O'Rourke is able to hang on to the back after you were talking about his incident there, and you know that when they get in the mix and get to that front group, if they can be there, that he is going to be one of the harder chargers. That'll be fun to watch him come from the absolute back.
Yeah, he'll be one of those more aggressive guys. As we come to 5 laps to go this time.
I don't think there's enough time for them to reel them in.
And again, I don't know how to count. 6 laps to go still. I thought the timing was going to go to 5, but apparently they had already crossed the line. Yeah, they don't have it. They'd have to gain a second a lap now to get to him. So it's now, again, a matter of just getting yourself in the right spot here. Trying to stay out of trouble, get to the finish. And obviously let the points play themselves out here. I mean, oh, and around goes Pedro.
And there goes the car into the infield. Will we see a caution?
Mojica turned to the infield, saves it back on track. No caution.
Unbelievable.
Pedro
if anybody could afford that to happen, it would be Pedro. How many events have we seen tonight that have not drawn a caution?
Plenty. And that's because they've all spun to the infield. Or to the inside of the back straightaway here as they come to 4 laps to go. Brian Macklin looking to sandwich the super speedway races here. One Daytona race over the season to kick off the season. And now looking to win the last one. And believe it or not, the second pack again is knocking time down. Almost down to 6 seconds flat. I'm taking notes from this. If you're going to go faster, run side by side. Be more aggressive.
Yeah, that just makes no sense, but here we see it.
Now they're going to be all beating themselves up like, why didn't we just race earlier?
We also have to remember that they have enough fuel, probably, and tires to do a green-white checker.
Right.
And so should an incident occur, which is fixing to happen here any second now.
Aggression is picking up.
Wow.
And for
these drivers, if you're running in the second group, you know you're running out of time.
For Comstock, he is racing for his playoff life right now. It's Coleman.
Coleman off to the grass.
Coleman is not safe right now. And there goes Calantoni to the infield. Another merge.
And wide. The 41 is sideways, and he goes around. There's the yellow.
Yep, caution is out. Oh, man.
There's the yellow.
That right there actually played.
Inevitable. You can't go into turn 1 4 wide. So 91's down there in the grass trying to avoid everything.
That just played out perfectly for Coleman. I say that from the sake of he was not safe in the playoffs. And him losing the draft right there would have hurt him bad. So this caution is going to reset everybody. And I almost think you're at a point now that you might have to pit for fuel here.
Yeah, that brings Pedro back in. That brings a whole host of drivers. It doesn't help Josh Parker, but Gerald Livingston, good for him. He hung in tough in that front group. And he's going to go back to the lead lap. Wow, that was just inevitable. It was coming. We could see it building and building and building. I really didn't feel like we were going to get to the finish, and now this puts everybody in a stack. This is going to be bedlam.
Add Wesley Donaldson. He was the one who got the outside wall. And Wesley was near the bubble, too. So that's another playoff driver involved in that wreck.
Trying right now to get back up to the position where he's at, but I'm sure he's going to go get some damage fixed. Will his crew chief tell him they can fix all the damage? That's the million-dollar question.
Well, if there's any track on an oval that you want this to happen at, it's Talladega, because then you get a good 2 minutes almost to fix your stuff. Oh, man. Only the third caution, by the way, so good job by these guys putting on a fun race. There's a chance, though, we make 5 cautions by the end of this thing, because we are going to go into Sim500 overtime here, it looks like.
And you got 2 drivers at this point that they're in that. So there is a chance. Nelson Rivera, Jose Gonzalez, both of them 1 lap down. They're going to fight like crazy to get to the lucky dog in case there's one more caution and put themselves back in the mix. And it's not out of realm of possibility that they could still make something out of this.
Lights are still on the pace car. Nobody came really to pit road at all outside of cars involved in that wreck. And you see as you mentioned, Gerald Livingston going to get the lucky dog. Everybody going to run the apron here to try to get as much fuel in the car as possible.
26 went in, changed left side tires, and they're fixing some damage to 91s on pit road for fuel and damaged no tires. Workman, the 43 of Doug Roth, and the 04 of Doug Sigmund all went in for service. It looks so easy for that front group. Now, look in the rearview mirror and you see Bedlam, the potential for Bedlam.
And I think
we've not seen whether or not, Chris, that the top line's the preferred line, the middle line's the preferred line, the bottom is the preferred line. I just think kamikaze, whatever line that is going, that's the one you're going to pick. I don't know that there's any distinct advantage tonight as to which line you choose.
No, I definitely haven't seen that at all. So I think it's a very fair point, and I think eventually the outside's where you're going to want to be. But man, this is going to be so tough to call. So we'll get one to go this time by, and then we'll get the green flag at the lap 94 mark. So you get 2 overtimes in Sim 500. So you'll get this opportunity here and then the next one. And I can tell you right now, all hell's going to break loose. Let's just say it like it is. And I just hope they get back to the white flag.
Well, we know one thing. With 2 overtimes, there's no chance for Josh Barker to resurrect himself here. Being
True.
2 laps down, he's pretty much out of this. So the only thing he could do is play offense to some of his teammates potentially to impact the outcome, but he's not going to win here tonight.
And of course, Dash for Cash wise, I think the only driver really eligible to win now is Tyler Dalton, because Tommy Ryan had issues. Let me look at the... Now you got Tyler and Pedro are your 2 drivers that are still on the lead lap with a chance to win. So, and Pedro obviously is going to start all the way back in 20th, so he's going to need a miracle. Tyler Dalton's all the way back in 11th and 12th, somewhere in that region.
While we have a lull in the action, it's important to say Sim500.com.
Yes.
Racing every night. You can run dirt, you can run asphalt, and it's a total blast. I try to sneak in, as do you, whenever we can to get some free time to race. Tomorrow night is the late models. Those cars are the most amazing car to race in the sim, in my opinion, and just had an incredible race last Tuesday night. I think we run Charlotte tomorrow night if we could slide in there, and whether it's the Cup car or the Sprint cars, the trucks, whatever it is, if you want to try racing, Sim500's your home. They have an amazing crew to admin every night of the week, and the other thing is most of the races like this one broadcast. So sim500.com if you're looking for a place to race.
Absolutely. And then of course you have the King of the Hill series that just started on, or King of the Mountain, whatever it's called, the Sunday series that's going on right now. That just started up too. So yeah, check out sim500.com for all the details. So here we go. Coming to the restart. 2 laps to go. Green, white checker or overtime. Coming right now is hello to John, who's at a campfire in Virginia, apparently. Macklin, good start on the outside lane, side by side. Who's that? Is that O'Rourke that popped up? It sure is.
Of course it is. That's like waving the orange flag. Come on up here. Pedro jumps up
they're Beasley and a Stenzel. Here we go, big one.
Collect a huge amount of cars.
Playoff implications.
24 is involved.
Tyler Dalton involved. Callan Tony's involved.
Yeah, there was just ping pong going on there. That started with the 10 somehow. And everybody just beat and bang off of each other as they go through. had to be a dozen cars in the mix over off of turn 2 to the Alabama gang backstretch there, and everybody seems to be pulling away, but there's a lot of wrinkled fenders and bumpers.
Somebody got in the back. Somebody got in the back of Comstock involved. Stenzel gets T-boned by Gonzalez. Chad Coleman involved also. Eric Arnold. Seth Foudy. Jeff Ryan. There are some pretty good drivers in this wreck. Playoff drivers, to be exact. Let's see. It starts with contact. Beasley was getting pushed by Friery. And he was pushing Kevin.
Yeah.
Oh, right there. He gets hooked.
Got that left rear corner. When you're going to push in the corner, which you're really not supposed to.
Well,
the worst thing you can do is hit that left rear corner.
And let's add to that, you got Wetzel almost pushing Friery.
Right.
So in this deal, look, Friery gets to the back of Richard. There's Wetzel to the back, and he hits Robert, and it turns him to the left a little bit, and right there causes the hook.
You're on the apex of the corner. You're right at the edge of traction, and all you'd have to do is reach out with your hand and push on that back quarter panel to bring the car around. That's how light the car is coming around through that corner when you're tucked in nose to tail, and the 10 steps out and just cleans out a vast majority of the field.
Add Pedro Mojica to the list. Add Doug Sigmund to the list. Let's add Nelson Rivera. Josh Parker goes all the way down to the bottom. There is at least 5 to 6 at least cars in the playoffs in this wreck. Tyler Dalton's on pit road. Mike Kelly, Callan Tony, Richard Beasley. And this is... Who does...
The driver that's in the lucky dog position is the 74 maybe of Wortman. Did he get a lucky dog here?
It's either going to be Wortman or Parker. Yeah, it'd probably be Wortman. Yeah, Wortman's flying around the track, so yeah, it's going to be Wortman.
The only one that didn't get involved in it. He locked it up and drove zigzag.
Right.
Almost looked like he was imbibing in Chad Coleman's sponsor there as he worked his way through that.
Let's say hello to the point standings once again as we bring them up here and show you that 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 9th, 11th, 13th, 14th, we're all involved in the last 2 wrecks. So right now, we have Brian Macklin leading. He's sitting pretty. You have Joe Hudson is running 5th right now. He is sitting pretty to jump into a playoff spot. Jatina would be in. David Comstock is still 7th, even though he spun around there, so he would kick into the playoffs likely. So, I mean, you're looking at a position right now where I think Coleman is safe. Where's Mike Kelly? 4th. Mike is probably safe. Tyler Dalton would be in trouble, amongst others, in making the next round of the playoffs. And looks like we're not going 1 to green this time by. So we're going to come back around and get 1 to go. So we still got a minute here to show all this. So Gonzalez is a lap down, so he's in trouble and likely out. Van Schaik is in the middle of the pack. I don't even have got him labeled as a playoff driver. Sorry, Charles. He's got a shot if he wins the race, maybe. So, I mean, there's so many things. There's so many elements here right now. Hello, Atomic Burrito from American Airline Flight. It's 1845, flying from somewhere to somewhere. You'll be flying at 35,000 feet, and you might even fly over Talladega Superspeedway.
I thought the 13 might have gotten through that unscathed, but he got tagged, did a pirouette, and then unfortunately nosed the right front against the wall. Tagged it pretty hard, so that front end is wrinkled and crinkled. It's the 04, the 19, the 10, the 84, the 42, and the 40, and the 3 cars, all coming around to join the back of the field after getting extensive damage repaired here. And who knows? This is where the 58 is now The roles are reversed, right? The 58's out in front of the 19, is he not? Before he was down in 20th, now he's running 10th, and
Yeah.
Tyler Dalton joins the field back there in 21st. So in the last green white checker, it was the complete opposite, and we're trying to see who's going to win some money here tonight.
Yeah, right now, yeah, it'd be Mojica. But here's the thing you have. I'm looking at, as we're coming to the green here, there's probably about 5 drivers that need this race to stay green to the white flag. Because they could be looking at a situation where they're out of the playoffs. So this might be the restart of the year for a lot of these drivers right now.
Everybody's looking for teammates. Everybody's looking for the hole. They want to see the Steve's part so that they can drive through and capitalize on the run. Drivers need to be really careful here that they're not jumping the start or doing anything that could bring themselves a penalty.
2 cars to watch here, the 9 and the 14. Those are Sim500 Mafia guys. Is somebody, did Mojica spin the tires or are cars running out of gas here? Something's going on.
Now, I think the 13 jumped out of line and banged the 58 on that restart. Now, interestingly enough, they're not going to get up to speed till about the backstretch here, so we won't see runs manifest till about mid-backstretch.
Well, the outside lane is broken right now. The question is, did anybody get penalties from any of that? As Bobby Wetzel and Jatina go to the lead as predicted, here comes Fryery and Stenzel inside. Wetzel with a big block.
For someone like Bolton who started out in the back, they need this to go green so that they can gain some of those positions.
Oh, there he goes.
And the yellow
Caution is out.
Is out.
Bobby Wetzel will get the checkered flag. You mentioned he's here to win, and Joe Hudson might have just snuck his way into the finals.
Outstanding, Joe Hudson. He's having a good run lately.
Meanwhile, the pace car's drifting through the apron. Oh, and Joey is not happy with Macklin. Once we get everybody lined up here, we'll be able to determine, and we'll look at the replay here in a minute here. I want to see where they line everybody up at here. And I might be able to try some math here. So Tyler Dalton's officially in 16th. And Macklin is in. Joe Hudson's in. I would say David Comstock's likely in. So obviously by saying these guys are in, people got to be eliminated. So
it looked like a bit of a bowling match, and we were talking about you can't push on that left rear quarter panel or rear bumper, and Macklin was right against that left rear bumper on Jatina, pushed him sideways. And now we just wait and see where the scoring loop puts everybody. I think Jatina, because as fast as the yellow came out, he's still going to get a top 5 here.
Yeah, Jatina will end up 5th, so he'll stay in. Calantoni looks like he's going to be done for, unfortunately. But one thing is for certain, the 9 car going to go to victory lane at Talladega as Bobby Wetzel sees the checkered flag. Macklin, Hudson, Comstock, Jatina, as everybody hangs a left.
Well, we said the unknown can happen at this type of racetrack, and to predict coming into this event, nobody would have said, you know what, Bobby Wetzel's going to show up and win this thing tonight. Not that he's not capable of doing it, but nobody had that on their dance card tonight. Congratulations to him. That's an outstanding win.
Yeah, Bobby did a good job getting the win here. His first, obviously, of the season. And let's go back now and get you the wreck and what took place. It happens off turn 4. Macklin trying to push Jatina.
You go back a little bit further and you could see he pushed him all the way through the corner. Joey's car never was really settled. The back wheels were off the ground, though, through the whole thing almost. Pushing, pushing, pushing. Joey's car squirts out just a touch here. And then when it comes back across, here he's on that left rear bumper. And that's just not going to work. Same result as we saw before. He goes down and careens off the 12. And the 77 clears him out like a left shot. Looked like a pool cue shot.
Yeah, Joey's able to get it straightened out real quickly. As you mentioned, Comstock gets a piece of it.
The 10 sliding through. Good evasive maneuver for quick hands.
And looks like a
good F15 rolling around the outside. Nice job there.
Yeah, so 2 or 3 cars, it looks like, all involved in that, and that was it. All right, so we'll get the points updated here as soon as possible. Right now, we'll let Wetzel burn it down here. In that Bill Elliott Dodge Charger number 9. You even got the Evernham logo down there at the bottom. Got the Elliott, the Evernham E.
Used to work with Mr. Evernham at Flemington Speedway every Saturday night.
Ah, yes. Yeah, he's a Jersey guy, yeah.
Yeah. Pulled him out of the race car when he flipped over and turned 4. Pretty bad wreck. I think that was one of the career-ending things for him. Not that we want to be famous for that at Flemington Speedway, but Ray was a good driver.
Well, I think Ray ended up being a little more popular in some other categories than a driver. So, great job by Wetzel to get the win here tonight. As we take a look at the final results from Talladega, Wetzel wins it. Brian Macklin, Joe Hudson into the playoffs with a third-place finish, the second round, I should say. David Comstock, 4th. Joey Jatina finishes 5th. Charles Van Schaik, 6th. Doug Roth, 7th. Eric Arnold, 8th. Kevin DeBrown, 9th. And Seth Foudy rounds out your top 10.
11th goes to E.J. O'Rourke. Wesley Donaldson finishing 12th, 13th for Richard Beasley. Chad Coleman comes home 14th, 15th for Tyler Dalton. The 44 of Glenn Campbell finishes 16th here tonight, 17th for Anthony Calantoni. Mike Kelly in the 2, 18th. 19th is Jeff Ryan. And it'll be Scott Stenzel finishing in 20th.
21st, Pedro Mojica, Gerald Livingston, 22nd. Brian Wortman, 23rd. Scott Simley and Nelson Rivera. Your top 25. Rivera is going to be pretty close, I think. Gonzalez, 26th. 27th, Sigmund. Robert Friary to 3rd, 28th. 29th going to Josh Parker and Tommy Ryan. Unfortunately, bad from the start, finishing in the 30th position. I'm going to hold on a second here before we bring people up. They're usually pretty quick at getting the results up here, and they've already got them up just like that. So before we even talk to anybody, let's get... Well, they're so quick, they already got the second round set up points-wise. Man, whoever's the points guy deserves a raise. Let me just do a little cutting and pasting here, but real quickly, we'll get your word here. What your thoughts on the race?
It's everything we said it was going to be.
Yeah.
Right? It had the crazy start with a couple cautions. It had the long green flag run to pit stops. We saw that second group trying to chase it down. A caution brought everything back, and then it was just crazy, typical Talladega 2.6 race to the finish. Everybody stacked on top of each other, and well, in the end, we've got a surprise winner, and that's always a fun thing to have in a season. So congrats to Bobby Wetzel on that. Everything we said was going to happen, I think, Chris, played out somewhere along the night.
It sure did, and let's go ahead and throw the points up now. I went ahead and chopped it off of where the drivers that were pretty much already out were out. And look right here, as you see, that Joe Hudson is in. Anthony Calantoni, Wesley Donaldson falls out of the playoffs. Charles Van Schaik comes up a little short there. Richard Beasley. And that is for the start, which, by the way, on the schedule next week, we are off. So this will start in 2 weeks. And as I look over here, I'm looking at the numbers right now. Oh, my gosh. All right, so that's the playoff grid right now. All right, so I'm going to let everybody see this, and I want you guys focus on 10th and 11th right now because I'm going to go cut and paste now the points after tonight's race. And when you see this, you are going to feel terrible for Anthony Calantoni and Wesley Donaldson. And I'm going to bring those. It just takes seconds. I have to cut and paste the whole thing to make this work. There's the update. Look down there at 11th and 12th as Anthony Calantoni and Wesley Donaldson fall out by 1 point.
Wow.
That final wreck right there did it all. As you look at that, obviously with 2 falling out, that means 2 come in. Those 2, Joe Hudson, David Comstock, 9th and 10th by 1 point. So, super speedway racing's pretty wild now when there's playoffs on the line, huh? Must say. We'll try to talk to those drivers, David and Joe. I'm sure they'll be in here for a little bit, and I'm sure there's a lot of unhappy people now when this thing is all said and done. So let's go talk to some drivers here after what was the craziness there of Talladega. Let's start with our top 3, and let's actually get Joe Hudson in here now, who is the 3rd place finisher. And Joe, congratulations, as you have officially put yourself into the round of 10 and a chance to win a championship.
Yes, sir, man. That was crazy, wasn't it?
I think that's a good tame word to use. I think we could think of about 20 more aggressive words to use, but still, what a job on your end. Obviously, surviving the mayhem, putting yourself in the best spots tonight. I think you're one of the rare names that wasn't involved in a wreck tonight and everything. But you did your part to finish 3rd.
Yeah, we just tried to stay. I knew I had to kind of, the people we were racing around with a couple of points was Comstock and Macklin. And Macklin was up front, and it wasn't looking good till we had that last caution there and grouped us back together. And then it was just anything could happen. And then when the checkered fell, we were all on pins and needles waiting on Brian Workman to update the points. And then there was a lot of happy Sim500 and some not so happy Sim500. But we've got a great team there. Everybody worked together, trying to get us all up there. And I usually make it to about a half mile from the finish line before I wrecked. I'm just happy to finish one. Making it to the top 10 with this caliber of driver is like a championship for me. So anything else is gravy.
Well, you definitely did your part tonight, man. Congratulations. I do want to ask the racing out there, especially at the beginning of the race. I mean, there were cars making moves left and right. It was like if you had to run, you went for it. And it seemed like the blocking and even cars just trying to get another run on another car, or even just trying to join a line that was moving, was just making it crazy out there.
Yeah, there were some really big runs and a lot of late blocks, but these drivers are second to none. And, we've been around each other for a long, long time. And there was a lot of give and take, as you probably saw. And it could have got nasty there a couple of times, but everybody was really on top of things. And it was probably one of the cleaner speedway races we've had in a long time. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, absolutely. It was a lot of fun to be a part of, and obviously the mayhem at the end, that's tradition. We're going to see that, man. But well earned. Congratulations. You get to race another 5 races for a championship, and send some shout out to whoever you like to.
I just want to thank you, Chris, for doing a great job on the broadcast. I always enjoy going back and watching it the next day. Joey and everybody at Sim500, this is something Joey puts together for all of us for fun. It's not a full-time job. It's not putting him in another tax bracket for sure. He does a lot of works behind the scenes for free to give us all a good place to race. So can't thank Joey and of course all our Sim500 Mafia teammates. It's just been something I'd have never thought would have ever happened with this caliber of driver, that I could make it to the top 10. So I'll sleep good tonight.
Nothing wrong with that, my man. Well, great job tonight. Congratulations, and go celebrate.
Thank you.
All right, buddy. That is Joe Hudson going to victory lane, or going to 3rd, I should say. It's like going to victory lane for him tonight when it's all said and done. So congratulations to him. And we'll let Kev, you get to talk to Brian Macklin.
Yeah, we had you picked, Brian, as somebody that was going to be a driver to watch tonight. You were leading at the final green flag, and unfortunately, it didn't look like you had any friends to work with you on that final lap. Still mustered a second place finish here tonight. Are you happy with that, or is it disappointing?
100% happy with it. Knowing my point situation coming into tonight, I was content with finishing second. You know, when we were strung out and we had the two single file groups, I was committed to Kevin, and I was not going to come off his bumper for any reason. And the only reason I would have is if all hell broke loose and I just wanted to get to the finish, I was going to drop back and finish seventh.
Talk about the race tonight. We know that it had several different, how do you say it, segments, so to speak. The racing in the beginning, right from the green flag, was crazy. You had the long run to the green flag pit stop, the space where you were set apart, and then the dash to the finish. It felt like 4 races in one. Was it that way for you behind the steering wheel?
It definitely felt like there was multiple races going on. At the beginning of the race, I think you saw all the playoff drivers that were in a bad spot in the points trying to get up there and lead a lap. That's what I was trying to do. And I know I saw David up there and Wesley and a couple of these other guys that were right around the cut line. So I think that's why it was so aggressive at the beginning. And then once each of us kind of got our lap led and we fell in line, like I dropped to the back. As soon as I got my lap led, I fell back and got out of it. And then at that point, it's just you got to get to the final stage of the race. You got to get to that final pit stop out of the way, and then let it all sort itself out. And the key was getting on and off pit road, which split the field up and kind of turned it into, as you said, like 2 different races there. But then we had the chaos at the end. So
How about that last restart? Anything you would have done differently? I know you finished second and you're content with that, but I know you always want to win.
yeah, I mean, I wish I hadn't gotten into Joey the way I did. I was trying to push him. My goal was to try to push him, get him way out there, and the only chance there was that I was going to try to pull out and make a move for the win is if we had a gap on third and fourth, and it was a move that was going to be high percentage that wasn't going to potentially put me in a bad spot where I'd wreck and go from finishing second to finishing 20th. So the points racing aspect of it sucks because you don't want to have to points race at Daytona or Talladega, but I kind of got into a hole with the first couple races of this round and I didn't really have much of a choice. So definitely changed the way I had to approach this race.
Well, this race is in the books, and some good, some bad, but you're live to fight another day. Who do you want to give a shout out to and say hello before we head out?
Absolutely. I got to thank Scott and all of Personal Comfort for being the primary sponsor on this car. I haven't gotten to do very many of these interviews this year, so it's kind of cool to get to give him a shout out. Thanks to him and EJ for being in the race and giving me a hand tonight. They were a tremendous help, not only on the track, but also just keeping me cool mentally, because there was a couple times where I got a little anxious. I also do want to give a shout out to Wesley Donaldson. He just did a really, really cool diecast for me. He brought my American Lung Association car to life and gave me that as a memoir that I can have in my house. So that's really cool. He does custom diecasts. If you're looking for one of your own car or something else, give him a shout out because he's definitely got some good stuff going on there. I got to thank you guys for putting on the broadcast, all the sponsors here at Sim500 that make this possible. And we're going to go try to win this championship now.
Yeah, thanks, Brian, for talking to us. I saw that diecast. It was outstanding. It was really cool. And the story makes it even that much more special for you. So really cool. Nice job, Wesley, on that. And we'll let you go and go chat with your teammates. Go find Mr. Jatina and give him a pat on the back. And we'll turn to Bobby Wetzel, who won this event tonight.
Yes, sir. And congrats to Bobby, by the way. Have a good night, guys.
You too, buddy. As Brian Macklin finishing in the second position there as Bobby Wetzel goes to victory lane, taking that number 9 Dodge to the winner's circle tonight, Bobby. And what was a wild race. I don't know where to start, man. That was just wildness all around you, I know, especially. And obviously you had nothing to lose tonight or nothing. I mean, you were just here for the win. And to be able to get yourself out there on those last couple of restarts and give yourself the opportunity to win and then finally pull it out there at the end's got to be pretty satisfying.
I mean, for my first Cup Series win, this is amazing. Like, I'm still in disbelief, mainly because these races are such a crapshoot. That last restart, I was also concerned because I was real close on fuel. Yep. It's amazing. I'm just overwhelmed at the moment.
Well, talk about the restart there, because obviously you had to get yourself clear, and knowing that at any minute something could explode and a wreck break out, and it finally did off turn 4. I mean, what were the emotions and thoughts at that time?
Well, at the start of that last restart, I know that Macklin was out front, and I was right behind him. And I was like, well, I got no other shot, but I got to go now, because if I get behind Macklin, I'm just going to be stuck pushing him. So I went around Macklin. I had Joey behind me. Joey got shuffled up out of the way, and I saw Simley start backing up. And as soon as I saw him start backing up, I started backing up too, because I knew he was trying to get a run. And just all hell broke loose coming out of 4. And I just looked up and went, go yellow, go yellow, go yellow, sweet. I'm so happy, guys. This is, it's been a long time coming. I've been racing here at Sim500. I've had a few truck and Xfinity wins, other series wins, but I never had a win here in the Cup Series. Finished second at the Daytona 500 we've had here once. So I'm real pleased.
Nothing wrong with that, man. Well, hey, congratulations, and you get to spoil the playoff party tonight, and get some shout-outs whoever you like to.
I got to thank all the admins, everyone who puts everything on. You guys for doing the broadcast, of course, and just my whole team. They've been with me, and we've been working together for forever, and it's great. Everything's just wonderful at the moment.
Well, great job, man. Congratulations. Go celebrate the win.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Bobby Wetzel finishing in victory lane here tonight. First Cup Series win, as he mentioned, for him. So great job on his part. And there's one other driver that I want to pull up here that we did not get a chance to talk to, and that's this guy right here, David Comstock, who finishes somewhere. I don't even know. And the only thing we need to know is that he finished 4th, actually, and he did everything he had to do
2
and
points,
made
1 point, actually.
the cut by 1. And, well, that was some mayhem, needless to say, out there tonight.
Yeah. Thought for sure I was definitely not going to make it when we got split, because then we started racing in the pack, and Joy was within the point threshold that I needed to keep him out of from, as far as finishing ahead of him, and to at least I was just trying to do, what I can to just, doesn't matter who was in the top 10. If I can finish 3 spots ahead of Macklin, 6 spots ahead of Wesley or Joey, whoever it may be. And so Macklin was up there in the lead pack, and I didn't think that we were going to get a yellow at all. And then the group that we were in started racing. So that packed us back up, and we had the yellow and the green, white checkers. And I think both green, white checkers, at least one of them I got spun out in, the other I got caught up in, just had to just got to keep your foot in it.
Yeah, and it definitely worked out for you, because, I mean, you were literally spun backwards on the back straightaway, and you get it straightened back out and able to hold on to your track position there. But it's not just tonight either. I mean, you had a good race at Bristol, or the last couple of races there, Bristol, if I remember correctly. I know there's the one race you missed, and I'm trying to remember this off the top of my head here. Was it Bristol? So you had
the
run
I had a great race sitting from home doing.
Yeah,
actually, I was on the road. I was traveling for work, but I had a great race at Bristol, sitting in my hotel room. It was really peaceful, quiet, lot, not as stressful. I was able to, have a few drinks while I was watching the race. It's good stream.
It is a good stream, wasn't it? So no, but you did have a good run last week, obviously, and you raced the week before Bristol, and it's
Kansas.
But basically, you were putting yourself in the right spot, is where I'm going with in the end here. Okay. To because of that race you missed, you fell back, and you had to go use these last 2 weeks to get yourself back in position to jump in.
True. I really think that the race around Bristol, Kansas, and Texas, I didn't have the performance that I normally do have. I had missed it in qualifying at Kansas and was just coming from the back and it's so tough to pass to that place, and track position is so important, especially there, that my lap that I was trekking before I nicked the fence off of turn 4, coming to the checkered for the money lap, I had pole. And so I was going to have excellent track position for Kansas. And then Texas, I burned the tires up. And I was honestly just trying to just kind of signal to Nelson, like I was just letting him go, trying to fall in line with him. And the car decided to drive like a forklift and just fence myself and just kill the car, kill the speed out of it. So between qualifying at Kansas and then I knew I was going to miss the race at Bristol. So it was super pivotal for me to get the races that I was going to have prior to tonight. Solid finishes where I have been running majority of the whole season around the top 5 area as far as finishes go. And I think I got it. I forget where our first track was. Now it was so far long ago for me. Darlington, I think it was. I got a good result there. And then I had a poor result at Kansas, missed Bristol, and at least by my standards, poor result at Kansas, poor result Texas, and put me in the situation for Dega. So I think if it would have been a lot less of a stressful night if I didn't run out of talent at Kansas and Texas.
Well, great job, man. You earned it still by surviving tonight and getting that top 4 finish. So congratulations on that. And send some shout outs.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you guys for streaming for us every Monday night. Thanks to nc811.org for sponsoring our series. Thanks to Sim500 and all the admins for putting up with us and all of our series throughout the week. Anybody out there looking to go and get in some fun league racing, go to sim500.com. We got racing every single night of the week. Thanks to all my teammates at Team Name and their help and support and working with me tonight, try to do what they can to get me in. Appreciate all of them and appreciate Monster Energy.
Absolutely, Mel. Great job tonight. And just remember, at Bristol, you had 0 incident points.
Yay! That's a win in my book.
There you go. Good job, man. As David Comstock fact-checking me and finishing 4th tonight and getting himself into the playoffs. As man, that was a wild one, like you said. And then tomorrow night you got the GOAT Super Late Model Series going to be running down at Charlotte. So yeah, that sounds like a pretty fun combo there. So go check that out tomorrow night. Should be some fun racing there. And meanwhile, I'll be hanging out here for another Talladega broadcast tomorrow night. So why not?
Have fun.
I'm going to try. You do the same, bud. Yeah, check out sim500.com. League racing every night, including Friday night. I think they're in week 3 or 4 of the Midnight Thunder series. That's been pretty wild. So tons of great racing going on here at Sim500. Check out their website, sim500.com. All right, Kev, let's go home. Enjoy. Yeah, man. Appreciate Kevin, as always, joining us here. Sim500 and 811 for allowing us to broadcast each and every Sunday and Monday night. Of course, Sundays we're off right now until we get to February of next year for 2024 in the Grand National Series. But always remember, this isn't just a game. It's iRacing. See ya!
Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless. A sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it. And I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring.
My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great.